I thought it would be fun to share a bunch of my favorite vegan brands and products that you can get at most big grocery stores. I have to say, I've been living in Montreal for I guess about a year now, and throughout that whole time I've been trying to find a grocery store that kind of is at the level of most large American grocery stores, and I haven't really found one yet. Definitely not all of these products are available in Canada, so hopefully they will be soon, but this is definitely more for American grocery stores. I am in Maryland right now, and I got all of these things just at Martin's, at the local grocery store chain. So you don't have to just be in New York or California to get a lot of these products. So I think I'm going to go by category and go through my top 2 favorite vegan ice and go through my top 2 vegan ice creams, vegan milks, vegan coffee products, candy and snacks, and then non-dairy alternatives. Obviously, there are a lot more brands and products that I really like, and I want to go in detail in future and maybe do a video all about what I've learned from drinking plant-based milk for the past 4 years, or ice cream, those kinds of things. This video is just going to be a general overview of my top 2 favorites. Okay, so starting with milks, I have definitely been on a long plant-based milk journey since going vegan. I was never a huge milk drinker, but I do like lattes. I have lattes almost every day, and I like to put milk in my coffee, in my cereal, baked goods, and all of that. So in the beginning, I was drinking a lot of almond milk, and then I tried all different ones. For some reason, I'm sort of allergic to soy milk, which is unfortunate when I'm traveling, because a lot of places I've found in more rural areas will often have a soy milk, but no other alternatives. So that's kind of a downer, but I'm really happy that oat milk has really started blowing up, and now most cafes offer oat milk, which is really great. I've noticed recently that like Chobani has a new oat milk, and a lot of companies are starting to come out with them, as well as vegan oat ice cream and things like that. So I'm really excited to try those. Definitely my favorite oat milk and vegan plant-based milk is Oatly. I'm obsessed with Oatly. If a cafe has Oatly, I will definitely always get that. I feel like it's really creamy, and it has this really nice flavor to it that not everyone likes. My boyfriend Max isn't a big fan of oatmeal or oats in general, so he always says that he can taste oatmeal and oat milk lattes and stuff, but I definitely can't. It is definitely my favorite to put in coffee, in anything. A lot of grocery stores don't have Oatly. I think they're starting to have them, but a lot of them don't. So if you make coffee a lot at home and you want a good oat milk, my favorite is definitely the Silk oat milk in the red container. I always just use original, because if I'm baking, I like to have a little bit of sweetness in there, and in coffee, it's nice if I'm not using a creamer or anything, if there's just a little bit of sweetness, but they have an unsweetened version too that's also really good. So now I'll talk about my favorite meat alternatives. I'm definitely not big into meat alternatives. I'm not the kind of vegan who, just makes the exact same things that a meat eater would eat, but just replace the meat and replace the cheese and all that, because I'm just not a huge fan of all of the alternatives. I think they're going to get probably really good, but I was also never a big meat eater to begin with, so it's just not something that I feel like I need. But that being said, I feel like both of these things, sausages and beefless crumbles, are great things to have and great things to try if you're going vegan. They're both great because you don't have to have them on their own. You can put them in pasta or spaghetti, or you can put the crumbles in shepherd's pie, and I feel like that's the best way to have vegan meat alternatives. My favorite company, at least as of right now, is Field Roast. I think their sausages taste almost like super similar to regular sausage. A bunch of different flavors that aren't like fake tasting. They taste really good, and I love chopping them up and putting them in different pastas. And of course, I also love Beyond Meat, the company. I don't have a lot of vegan burgers to begin with, but the Beyond Burgers are great to have on hand if you're having a barbecue. And they came out recently with the beefless crumbles, and those are really good to have in spaghetti or in shepherd's pie, like I said. So I'm a huge coffee, latte, matcha, chai, everything like that drinker. I am obsessed with all different kinds of coffee beverages. And especially during quarantine, I've had to have a lot of these things at home now, which is definitely good for my bank account and me in general. So I found a lot of products that I really like. And one of them is this Stoke iced coffee. I've had their mocha versions. I've had just their regular, like this, the cold brew, the iced coffees, the different flavors, and they're all really good. They don't taste fake. They taste like something you would get at a cafe. So that's one that I've been really enjoying. And then again, Silk makes a really good oat creamer. I believe they make different flavors also, but I always get the vanilla one, and I just put a tiny bit in with a latte or something like that as my sweetener, and it's nice and thick and creamy. A lot of times if you use like almond milk as your milk and then you put in some like liquid sugar or something, it all is kind of watery for a latte, so this really helps it stay nice and creamy. Now just to talk about snacks a little bit. My go-to snacks are usually baked goods that I make, which is not the greatest, but a lot of times if I'm snacking, I will be snacking on like a cookie or a muffin or something like that that I recently made, especially in quarantine, and I need to get over that habit. These are probably my two favorite snacks ever. Little Secrets. They're not a vegan company. A lot of their types, like the peanut butter and I think the toasted coconut and the mint maybe, are not vegan, but the peanut ones are, and this was a lifesaver for me because I'm a huge M&M person and chocolate everything. I'm not a fan of like gummy sweet candies, and I'm a big chocolate person, so these are really great. I always bring them to the movie theater. Yeah, they're delicious. And then Bamba is this recent love that I have found. This one is from Trader Joe's, and they have the cheapest ones, I think. So whenever I go there, I stock up on like a million bags of them. But they're basically just like peanut butter Cheetos, if that makes sense. They are so delicious. We can bring them in the car, and like I can eat a whole bag of these in like 5 minutes. They are so good, and they're not too bad for you. They're better than eating like chips or something like that. Okay, next is some dairy-free alternatives. Before I went vegan, I hated cheese, butter, sour cream, mayonnaise, anything that was like creamy and gross. I didn't have it when I was a little girl. All through growing up, through high school, I've been disgusted by all of it. So that was definitely not something that I had a hard time with when I went vegan. But they're really good to have for baking, and some vegan cheese is really good to have in a grilled cheese or in something. I definitely would never have it on its own, or even, I don't even really like vegan pizzas that much because the cheese kind of grosses me out, but it's definitely good to have a few brands on hand that you trust. Earth Balance obviously is I think the main vegan butter brand. I use it in all of my baking. I think it's best to use the sticks when you're baking, but the spread is good to have for if you need to grease the pan, stuff like that. I always have Earth Balance. And then my favorite vegan cheese is definitely Chow. There's a bunch of good ones coming out, but then there's a bunch that kind of aren't so good, and I think that's one of the worst things that happens is when somebody goes vegan. They try vegan pizza or vegan cheese, and they're kind of grossed out by it, and they're like, forget it, I can't do this. But I think you just kind of have to not focus on the replacements and just focus on all the other things that you're going to start eating, like different vegetables and things like that. But Chow is a really good brand if you want to put it on grilled cheese or on a topping of some kind. And so I would definitely recommend that. This one is the tomato cayenne one, and that's really good. But I think their plain one is just as good. Okay, and lastly is vegan ice cream. Max and I are both huge ice cream lovers. I definitely always loved getting like soft serve cones at Carvel and all of that, and that's probably one of the hardest things that I think about that I miss from when I wasn't vegan. But The ice creams have gotten so good in the last few years, and these are just a couple of them, but I really love tons of different ice cream brands and especially flavors. And I love the Haagen-Dazs one too, actually, but I couldn't find that one at this grocery store. But Haagen-Dazs is a really good dairy-free ice cream. I really love Nadamu for their vanilla and chocolate and strawberry and their plain flavors. If you're ever looking for like an ice cream to have with like a brownie or cake or something like that, Nadamu is definitely the best one I've had. It just tastes neutral. It tastes like vanilla beanie, really, really good. So definitely try that one out. And then Ben and Jerry's would not have been my favorite dairy-free ice cream until I tried the new Netflix and chill version. It is so, so good. It has swirls of pretzel and peanut butter and fudge brownies, which are like pretty much my favorite things to put in ice cream. So this one is really, really good, and it's now my new favorite vegan ice cream. Some other brands that I love are So Delicious, Nadamu, Haagen-Dazs. I have not tried the Oatly ice cream yet, but I've heard it's really good, so I might change my favorite brand of ice cream really soon. But yeah. So that is all for this video. I hope you liked it, and I hope you got some new products that you're going to try. These few simple things can definitely help you if you've just started going vegan and you need some alternatives so that you can feel kind of like you still have your normal life. But I think after a while, these things just help you out here and there when you're trying to veganize things, or have like a treat now and then. I hope to make a lot more of these kinds of videos, like I said, going into more detail about different ice creams and what they're good for, and different milks and what they're good for. The great thing about being vegan is right now there are so many options for everything, so it's so much that you're almost kind of overwhelmed when you go into the milk section. There's like 10 different kinds of dairy-free milk. So I hope this helped you out a little bit, and I'll see you soon.